Before we get started today, I'd like to ask our dairy farming audience to take a few moments to go online to dairybusiness.com/protein and complete this survey. We are conducting this survey related to feed rations. Specifically, we'd like to know more about the protein ingredients that you and other producers commonly use. Today on Dairy Business Update, we're going to talk for a few minutes about the latest connection between genomic research and the AI bulls you can select for your herd. With us on the research side is Brenda Fessenden, Senior Scientist, Genetic Technical Services for Zoetis, based near Rochester, Minnesota. On the AI side, we have Jeff Ziegler, Vice President of Dairy Cattle Breeding at Select Sires in Plain City, Ohio. Welcome to you both. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, thank you.
What triggered this conversation is the release of a technical bulletin that reaffirms the connection between a genomic index developed by Zoetis, dairy wellness profit, and the observed lifetime profit in Holsteins. This is the report we're talking about. Unhappily, our time today is a bit limited, so we won't be able to delve into all the detail, but we'll tell you where you can find that. Brenda, start us off by just giving us your elevator speech, if you will, a little summary of the index itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dairy Wellness Profit, or DWP, is a lifetime selection index. And what that means is that it is actually trying to predict the amount of profit an animal will make over their entire life, okay? And in order to do that, DWP has a variety of different traits in it, from production, fertility, longevity, as well as cow and calf wellness traits, since all of those qualities impact an animal's ability to be profitable.
Well, Jeff, from a breeding standpoint, and with so many possibilities in sire selection today, where does the Dairy Wellness Profit Index fit as you think about dairy cattle breeding?
Sure, Joel, and I appreciate how Brenda's ended with the word profitable. Everything we try to do today genetically is profit driven, and the various indexes that are available to us all have that in different regards. DWP has probably hit the fine-tuned precision breeding index maybe as heavily as others, particularly from a health standpoint. And today, dairymen are saying, hey, we need these cows to last longer in our herds. It's not just about longevity, it's about keeping them healthy and well and out of the sick pen and breeding back and not getting laminitis and on and on and on. And the DWP index summarizes all that in a tidy little way to allow us to rank bulls and rank genetics that we can propagate from.
Brenda, if I read the bulletin correctly, your study involved animals that were born a while ago, way back to 2011, if I saw that properly. Mm-hmm. So this really does cover the career of these cows in the study. Give us some study highlights.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why we needed to wait to conduct this study, was because we needed those cows to have completed their life. So a couple of the highlights, we found that DWP does in fact, predict which animals will generate more profit. That was really exciting when we found that. And so then we dug in a little bit more of why did those cows generate more profit? And what we found was it's because they were making more milk over their lifetime, in addition to living longer and experiencing less disease.
Jeff, for 50 years or more, breeding values of one sort or another have been calculated for dairy animals, and it's resulted in real increases in productivity and conformation. But in some quarters, there's always been a certain amount of skepticism. I recall one breeder years ago saying estimate of estimates. But in this study, you found real measurable differences in herd life, total production, less instances of mastitis and lameness. As someone involved in producing bulls and females for bull mothers, what does this tell you?
Well, Joel, what it's really helped us is to get direct measurements instead of utilizing indirect measurements to estimate what makes a cow live. And it's a multitude of things, obviously. And we've known that for a long period of time. Productive life has been a great indicator tool to us. But when you try to slice out what all is in productive life or creates an animal to have longevity, these traits you mentioned, Brenda has mentioned, are critical. So when we can pinpoint those traits, utilize indexes that summarize it in a comprehensive way from a profitability standpoint, but from a genetic development standpoint, fine tune our breeding goals and objectives by these individualized traits like mastitis that now has 3 indicators actually, Zoetis being one of those. So it's extremely helpful to make better decisions, to make us smarter in our genetic estimates. So the sires that come into the programs today, we're not surprised by the outcomes. We just have more tools available to us with a great science base behind them to make better judgment calls.
Brenda, tell us just a little bit more about the parameters of the study and what was involved in monitoring the cattle involved.
Sure. So we had just about 2,100 cows from 5 different herds throughout the US. And so those cows were born back in 2011 and needed to be genomic tested. And so what we did is we tracked those cows over the course of their life. And so, right, we used their herd recording system, and I knew how much milk, fat, and protein they had generated, how many times they'd been bred, right, if they left the farm alive or dead. So basically, we knew massive amounts of information about them. So we were then able to put dollar values to that to really determine what incomes and what expenses did each cow generate throughout her entire life. And we used that to really understand how much lifetime profit did each cow generate.
Here at DairyBusiness.com, we will be publishing more information about this study, but in the meantime, where can herd owners and herd managers find out more details about this, Brenda?
Yeah, so more information is available on our Clarified Plus website, and we will provide the link so you can go there and find additional details.
Jeff, thank you very much for being with us. Any final thoughts as we wind this up?
Just to Joel, to add on to Brenda's comments, that we as well in all of our promotional material and websites as well provide these details. We have specialists in the field, genetic specialists in the field to help interpret what this means because data is a little confusing today. There's so much of it. We want to provide the best education so our member customers get the best use out of these tools.
Thank you very much. Well, we thank Brenda Fessenden with Zoetis and Jeff Ziegler with Select Sires for talking a little bit about the new information available confirming details about the Dairy Wellness Profit Index from Zoetis. Thanks both for being on Dairy Business Update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Joel Hastings for Dairy Business Update at DairyBusiness.com.